Hello and welcome to the fiddle yard of St Michael's Hill. Okay, so you're going to have to use your imagination a little bit. We're certainly not at that level yet, but this is part of the area that will be the fiddle yard on the layout. So hello, welcome back to St Michael's Hill. It's been a fair while since I brought you one of these videos that's basically focused on the new layout. So sorry to anyone who was kind of following along, and I've given you a bit of a break from that content, but if you have been sticking around, thank you. If you haven't seen any of that, then I'll leave a link to the playlist for the new video at the end of this one, and go and check them out. I think there's a fair few. I think this will be the 5th video from the new layout, so if you'd like to kind of see a new layout take shape from the ground up, then maybe watch the playlist and hopefully you enjoy it. Today's video, like I said, I'm going to be looking at the baseboards, which are now all completely finished. I'll kind of give you a quick tour of the layout, or what it's going to look like, and basically show you a little bit about how I've kind of put the boards together, although it's pretty much a continuation on the baseboard building video I did a couple of videos ago in this series. So I'm not going to go into detail on how I did it, but I'll kind of show you where everything's slightly changed from that, and look at a few of the challenges that I had to kind of overcome to get here. So I'm going to do that, and then that should be it for this one. It's a fairly quick one, not going to be too much in terms of going on, because I kind of feel that baseboard's fairly interesting, but at the same time nothing too great. There won't be any new running shots, and you'll see why in a second. But I will try and throw in a few kind of older clips from the old layout, and hopefully that will kind of keep a few of you who like that sort of thing a little bit interested. Right, on with the tour. This is why you're not going to have any clips from the old layout. It is currently stored under the new one, not hooked up to the fiddle yard, which is down the other end. So that's kind of the reason. I will at some point turn that around and probably build a little kind of deck for it, just so it's a little bit off the ground and easier to kind of use if I want to get down and film all that sort of thing. But yeah, that's the reason we're not showing any clips from that today. But on to the main job, really. I'm going to start here by the door. So this whole section is a simple lift out section. It's not hinged, and at the moment there's no kind of clips or anything holding it in place, although this will probably change. I'll put a few little bolts to just kind of hold it in place so it doesn't move, although frankly it probably won't. It's pretty much solid in there already. Luckily, using poplar, this whole section that lifts out, which is probably 2 foot long by maybe 1.5 feet, is very, very light, very easy to do. There's not going to be any scenery on this board, so it's just going to be some track, a couple of points, and that'll be it. So it should be fairly easy to lift out every time, and then I'll just connect it back up when I'm running it. A few of you may wonder, and I certainly did as well, about the door, and the big issue I have with people coming in when I might be using the layout. Obviously it could be pretty catastrophic, so I'm going to have a little system looped up when the track power's on, or even when this board's in place. There's a little red light on the outside of this door just so no one comes in, but shouldn't be too much of a problem. Obviously the other thing I could do is just have a little lock on the door. That would probably sort the problem as well, but yeah, it's the biggest compromise really of the whole thing, just because it's something that I had to do. I wanted a slightly wider kind of lift out section so I can kind of start the points for the fiddle yard a little bit earlier. Just gives me quite a lot of extra room. So going around this section, there will be a top, or part of a top on that section there, and then we're going basically where the frame drops away, we end up on the scenic section. So there will be a raised track bed that's going to be at the same height as the top of here, so the track bed will kind of be, I guess there'll be a 12mm top on top of here, and then the track bed will be on the level with that goes all the way around at kind of a level rate. So this end will be very much just kind of an embankment and some countryside. The depot is going to be around here. So the depot building, the railway laser lines one that you've seen many times upstairs will be here with a few sidings off of it. And then it comes along here. We'll probably be getting to the kind of station around this sort of area and the entrance to the depot. And then up here will be the town scene. So the railway will disappear at the back over there. And my hope is, if I can do what I hope to do, is make it look like it goes straight on and kind of out of the garage. But in reality, there'll be a turn and then it'll link back up to here, which is the beginning of the fiddle yard. This section of the fiddle yard is going to be fairly covered with the town scene as well. I really want the town to kind of come all the way across here. So it's going to be quite a lot higher. The track will go, or the station will be kind of dropped down from the rest of the town with some stairs up to it. And that will kind of run along here really to a point. I mean, in theory, I could come all the way around, but I think for now, we'll just bring it to about here. And if it gets extended in the future, that'll be fine. These boards are 2 feet wide and the back here is 3 foot wide, or just over 3 foot. I'm using kind of centimetre measurements, so it's 90 centimetres by 60. And that should give me kind of a decent amount of kind of scenic area. And then all these boards with flat tops on are all the fiddle yard. And we're looking to get 11 lanes across here. So as you can see, there's kind of 4 there. There's probably room for another 6 or 7 according to all the plans. So I will be planning this out over the next few weeks, but on the computer it's certainly been planned out to be about 11 lanes wide, which should give me a good amount of storage. Just on this side there will be a couple of shorter sidings for DMUs that will be, or could be, set up in kind of a loop to run basically through the kind of station on the branch line and back round to the other side of the fiddle yard over here. So there'll be kind of 11 through roads, a couple of DMU sidings here, and there will be also one other dead end siding kind of further along there. So that's the plan, at least for the fiddle yard. As you can see, it's fairly long. I think it should be easily able to get a full HST rake along here. For those of you who don't know, the dimensions of the garage or the layout, kind of 16 feet in length, so along here, and 8 foot across. So 3 foot of, or just under 8 foot. So it's 3 foot of scenic section, then another 2 foot section, and another 2 foot section on the end there. So gives you a decent kind of look of it. One of the challenges / oversights that I kind of didn't think of when measuring out the garage was actually the hinge on the garage itself. I do still want to be able to use this as a garage door for a couple of reasons. One, because it makes getting things in and out a lot easier, and two, just because actually the door itself has been insulated by the previous owners. You can see a lot of this kind of insulating tape. There's a few small gaps under the very bottom, but I bought some extra brushes and we'll fit those. And actually the temperature in here is very, very kind of stable. So right now, as I'm filming this, I think it's about 22 degrees outside. And in here, we're probably very, very comfortable, kind of 16, 17. In the winter, it gets a little bit colder, but certainly it's never, you know, you never need to kind of have gloves on to be in here or anything. And in the height of summer last year, when we were kind of getting 30, 35 degrees in this room, it was probably about the same, 17, 18. So it's very, very kind of insulated. So I kind of thought I'd keep the functionality of the garage. However, I obviously didn't take into account that the hinges would come up. So I had to remove a small section of the top and the kind of frame. If I go over to the other side, you'll be able to see what I've done there. But to add the strength, I've obviously put another leg in and then cross bracing along the bottom there. So it's all very, very sturdy. Taking that section out hasn't weakened it at all. I even added a little extra beam there as well on the frame section. Not done that on this side just because the top keeps everything in place, so no real need to do that. Just wanted to also draw your attention to the storage that's underneath the layout. The boards are fairly high, they're comfortable for me. They're about 3.5 feet off the ground. At that point, the frames are obviously slightly lower, but the track will be raised above them. I've been able to easily fit kind of an IKEA Expedit unit under there, which will obviously store various things, stock, all that sort of stuff. I will probably look to get some sort of crates or boxes or something to store more locos and more rolling stock in that section. Obviously right now there's a lot of space above where the locos are, and it's not the most useful use of space, but I will look to kind of create that. But the fact that I have got that gap, and then also a fairly big gap underneath me to work in with wiring and things like that, it's very useful. Under each of these boards, you might be able to just see there's holes in each one to pass the bus wires through, and we can go from there. So it's all kind of very nice under there, easily kind of thought of for the future. There is one other thing that these baseboards still need, or they say need, they probably don't need it, but I want to do it anyway. Where you can see down here, there's a cross beam on that leg. That unit there is probably a lot more solid than the rest of them, just in terms of the legs. Obviously the leg's held in, it's bolted into place. It probably wouldn't move a little bit, but there's certainly a bit of play in each of the legs at the moment. I want to put cross beams across each table, each frame, and then also around the back edge I'm going to put frames across, or a cross beam across each of the frames all the way around, which could then in theory be screwed to the wall if need be, but kind of don't think it will. They're all kind of connected to each other, it's all holding itself in place, but by adding that extra kind of frame across, it just will make the whole thing even more rigid than it even is. Like I said, I really don't think that's an issue. These boards certainly aren't going anywhere with 18mm ply construction, but at the same time, I would rather just keep everything in place, especially when it comes to kind of scenic sections. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to talk a little bit in a second about what's next and what you can expect from this series, not necessarily the channel as a whole, but this series next video. Before I go, I just thought I would give you a bit of a look forward to what's next. As you can see, I've started to cut out the track bed. This is for the two main lines, and where it gets a bit wider here, then the branch will come in for the platforms. This section is going to be bits of depot and things like that. These will, as I've already said, get lifted above the level of the frames, but it just shows you kind of roughly what the track's going to kind of look like. Once that is all done, I'll be able to start laying track on that. So I'm going to be talking about that a lot in the next video. I imagine the next video will be all about building this track deck and laying the track as well. So that's probably the next project. Not exactly sure when that will happen. All very much depends on how much wood I've got lying around. There's a few, as you can see, there's a section here of the main line that needs to be filled, which I can definitely do. And there's also a section just at the end here that I have enough wood to do. Certainly the depot section I won't finish. The shed, which is fairly big, is probably going to be sort of here-ish for the final one. So a lot of this area will be kind of covered, so certainly won't get to finish that. And unless I can get some more wood delivered, which frankly I'm not mad keen on the idea of trying to do at the moment, that probably won't progress. But certainly the fiddle yard, I can start laying what track I have got on there. Again, getting hold of points and things right now is very difficult, because Pico have taken the sensible decision to close down, and I'm not criticising what they've done, but obviously it's made track a little bit tricky to get hold of. So yeah, that'll kind of do. I'll certainly be working as much as I can on the fiddle yard and working on these sections as well. So that'll be the next video, and hopefully that'll be with you a little bit quicker than this one was. The other thing that I am going to be doing over the next couple of weeks is filming a video of all the fleet that's going to be on the new layout. So many of you who've been watching monthly updates kind of know that stock's been coming in and out recently. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the fleet for the new layout, what's going to be there, what I've already got. There's a few things that I'm kind of waiting for, and I'm going to talk about which of the locos and things I have need work, which will be renumbered and all that sort of stuff, and talk you through kind of the reasoning behind all that. So that will also be coming as soon as I get, there's a loco I'm waiting for that's currently away being worked on. As soon as I get that back, I'll be filming that video. So hopefully, probably at the end of this month or beginning of May, I'll have that video with you as well. So they're the next couple of videos that I'll be working on for this series. There will be still other videos from me and the channel. So there you go. Thank you very much for joining me today on St Michael's Hill. I hope you found that interesting. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below, and I will make sure that I answer those. One thing before I go, I just wanted to thank the incredible work that the NHS and key workers are doing. It really is keeping the country going at the moment. I kind of hope that in a few years' time, people are watching this video and have no idea what I'm talking about, but have long forgotten the problems that we're going through at the moment. But hopefully, the things that the key workers and the NHS are doing will never ever be forgotten. So thank you to everyone who is kind of in one of those fields, and I'll see you very soon on St Michael's Hill. Stay safe. Catch you soon. Bye bye.